Now, this is where the table turns. Because Jesus went through, Jesus cut through the religious persona. He cut through the barriers, the high and mighty sense of, I'm so important, I'm so great, I'm above everybody, I'm Mr. Know-It-All, I'm PhD above PhE, I'm so perfect. And allow them to examine the conditions of their heart. Now he's allowing them to examine the conditions of their heart. The high and mighty, the religious, righteous people. Examine your heart. And they were trapped now. They were trapped. Because we tend not to look at ourselves. We tend not wanting to see ourselves as we really are. We create this persona of ourselves that's totally untrue. And we try to be perfect. But behind closed doors, we're not perfect. It's like a man that will come and be so holy and so righteous, and behind closed door, he's beating his wife, he's abusing his children, that sort of thing. But everybody perceives him as, he's such a nice man. He's a very good man. He's a very nice man. Yeah, he's so holy. He's so godly. No, he's not. Because God knows his heart. And these men that were condemning this woman started to reflect on their own sin. And to a point, I believe they realize how sinful they really are and how much grace they really need. They realize, I am so sinful. I am there condemning this woman for her sin, but my sin is far beyond her sin. Maybe one of the guys that was condemning her was the one that was committing adultery with her. But Jesus brought them to that place of no return, where you have to face yourself and look into your life and examine your life. And you realize that you're not perfect. You're not sinless. That's why we need the grace of God. We need his grace every day. We need the grace of God every day. We need his grace every day. And for most religious individuals, a heart examination is not for them. They don't look at their heart. They look at their actions. As far as they're concerned, my heart's okay. Their self-righteous attitude prevents them from seeing their sin. They continue to work their way into God's presence. Their self-righteous attitude prevents them from seeing their sin. So they continue to work their way through. They're working. They cannot receive grace. We're saved by faith through grace. They believe they're working, they're doing the right thing. That's what Paul was doing. Paul was working. Paul was, by works, he was destroying the Christians. Until he was arrested by the grace of God. He was arrested by the grace of God. And then he changed. But Jesus' words diverted their attention away from this vulnerable woman's situation. The whole tables would turn away from her to their own need for forgiveness. for their own need for forgiveness of their sins. They realize that they are sinful in their behavior at that present moment. They started to see their agenda was wrong. Their whole attitude was wrong. And they need the grace of God as well as this woman, this poor woman. They're thrown in the middle of the court and pointing the fingers at her. They realize that they're worse than her. And they need compassion. They need the grace of God. So they were trapped in their own situation. They were trapped in their own trap. They were trapped in their own situation. They were so busy looking at this woman's sin. They were so busy looking at this woman's sin that they were unable to notice that they were sinning at the same time by deceiving and manipulating and planning together and plotting the actions towards the Son of God at that moment. But in the eyes of God, nothing is hidden from his sight. Everything's exposed, and he knew their motives. Their motives was exposed, and they felt ashamed and humiliated based on their actions, their agenda. Exactly how that woman felt, they even felt worse. You see, this woman didn't walk out, did she? She stood there and took the shame. But what did they do? They ran. They walked out. The oldest to the youngest walked out in shame because they realize they need the grace of God. And we all need the grace of God. Now look at the compassion of Jesus towards this woman. The Bible says, straightening up, Jesus said to her, "Woman, where are they? Did no one condemn you?" Did no one condemn you? Because they left. They didn't condemn, they will condemn you. But why didn't they stay to condemn her? No. Because they felt her pain. They felt her humiliation.